Now, I don't know if you can hear, but we're having a nice rainfall coming down right now, and that's the beauty of this time of year. There's so much food and forage in the woods, and the whitetails want for nothing. They have everything right now, and a lot of wildlife. We're on a food plot right here that's very important on this parcel, and I teach over and over again that you can't overpressure your plots. You can't spook the deer off your plots. In fact, I say often, if you're continually spooking deer off a plot, if you can't get in and out to a stand location that's near a plot without spooking deer, just don't use it. It's that critical. And I believe that 100%. I've seen that over and over again. I talk to clients, many clients, hundreds of clients, where first year of the food plot was great, and then it declines in use, in daytime mature buck activity, deer activity in general. It just declines over and over again. And overpressuring food plots is just one way, maybe the best way, to make sure that your property is not a daytime hangout for mature bucks. And why does that matter? Folks, you don't want to attract mature bucks after dark. With your trail cameras, if you're showing that you're getting more than one mature buck picture after dark for every picture you're getting during the daylight, then your property is a nocturnal property, and you're not doing much to actually advance bucks in the next age class, attract them, hold them. Think about it, during the daylight hours, deer in general, including bucks, move very little. You know, outside of the rut, a deer's daily pattern might be within a 300-yard window. So that's the window we're focusing on. And there's several things that you can do to make sure that that does not happen. And one of them is overpressuring food plots. You know, this is a redneck ghillie blind. It's hidden in here. I had deer move by this blind within 7-8 feet outside of the blind during the hunting season, and they have no clue that this is here. Behind some logs, they can't walk to this blind in brush. I enter from the back side on a trail that comes under a red cedar and goes right into the back of the blind. There's no way that deer can follow me in here. There's no need for them to follow me in here. We can actually get in and out of this blind. Say if Dylan's filming for camera for hunting and I'm filming and I'm in here for hunting, the two of us can get in and out of here without spooking deer, even if we have several deer out on the food plot. The land goes lower behind us. There's a slight ridge here. As we're walking away from this blind, we're getting completely out of the view of deer here. So very non-invasive way to hunt this food plot, and we can do it on this food plot. And so we have a blind. We actually have a couple blinds off the edge over here that we can hunt to over a water hole. Open hardwoods. Let's say we had open hardwoods next to this blind. We had this food source right here, or in this blind location. Then deer have to cross through that open hardwoods and that big chunk of timber, whatever it might be, to get to this food source. Well, a lot of times they're not doing so till after dark in that case, because they have to cross through the open timber. Now, a big one, and I know I'm going to make some of you mad, but if we drove an ATV to the back of this, even if we park 50 yards behind here, we're going to destroy this food plot, destroy this land. The deer aren't going to want to come within 200-300 yards of this area during the daylight, and it'll be because of that ATV and that noise from the ATV. Just think about it one time. They hear the ATV coming, they hear the ATV shut off. We come in here, we accidentally spook a little fawn or something. Pretty soon we're educating the entire herd that when that ATV's coming, they better run. And they do quickly. And I've enjoyed when my neighbors have actually used ATVs on their lands because it pushes a lot of deer our way. Overpressuring your food plots, open mature hardwoods, ATV use. And then at the same time, if you don't have any daytime browse on your property, if your property is full of conifer, full of mature timber, full of food plots, full of native grasses, but you don't have hardwood regeneration, briars, shrub tips, woody browse tips on your land, then why would those deer be there during the day? That's an important component. Deer feed 5 times in a 24-hour period. That means twice during their bedding hour days, and that would be, or bedding area hours, and that would be mid to late morning and then early afternoon. So they want to get up, browse around just within an acre or two and have some browse. And if you don't have that browse, then why is your property going to become a daylight movement property when deer can't even feed on your property? So think about, is your land actually a nocturnal property? Is it a daylight property? Do you have several of the conditions, even just one of those, being overpressured plots, no browse, open hardwoods, ATV use, and the list can go on for ways that you can spook deer. You know, maybe even have a cabin and a driveway going through your 40 acres to get to that cabin, and you're pushing off deer from either side from bedding or feeding during the daylight because they don't want to watch you drive by in your car. So there's several ways, and you might be able to think of some other ones, that make sure that your property is not a daylight property and is not conducive to holding mature bucks. Let's face it, does fawn in their family groups, doe family groups, or fawns, young bucks even, sometimes they can take a lot of stress. They can take a little bit of hunting pressure over the food plots. They can take some open timber. They can take some poor habitat. They just want to be by their food sources, and they want to be homebodies. They want to stick around. And so you can create a situation where you can have some does and fawns on your property, but your property is largely a non-mature buck property, nighttime nocturnal property. Think about those conditions. There could be more. We have the perfect setup here for hunting alongside a food plot. I hope you can create some of these too. And it's all about cutting down your deer-human encounters during the daylight. And if you can keep those encounters to a minimum, there's always a chance you're going to spook deer, but keep those to a minimum. Make sure you have browse. They eliminate invasive access techniques like using ATVs. Keep from overpressuring your food plots. Make sure you don't have big stands of open hardwoods that are blocking out the deer movement during the daylight. And your success will not only go up during hunting season, but your ability to actually grow, attract, hold, and manipulate a quality deer herd that actually includes great sex ratios and an adequate buck egg structure will be at its highest potential. And that's when you find success.